Cheers everyone, Womick here and welcome to a new video on my channel. First of all, my apologies if I sound a bit sick. Still dealing with a cold I picked up recently, which will hopefully be gone within the next few days. But today, we'll be talking about the humans and their history on EO, so if you enjoyed the content, make sure to drop a like, subscribe with bell notifications on and share the video. It's much appreciated. Let's dive into it. As we mentioned in the last video when we talked about the Shapers, the humans are nothing but their regressed form, meaning they somewhat devolved from the Shapers. When the dragons managed to drive the Shapers away around 40,000 years before the Convocation, one small part of them that survived fled into the caves of the Windwall Mountains where they hid themselves. Throughout the next 39,000 years, these Shapers became more and more primitive and barbaric, losing a lot of their magical power in the process, possibly so since they didn't use them to not attract the dragons to their location. It's not known when they stopped being Shapers and just became humans. We're talking about more of a gradual regression, not just a flip of a switch. We know that not much happened during that time. One important thing to note is that humans, at some point in this period, befriended the griffins in their caves by sharing their meals with them. The griffins were hunted by the dragons at that time for food, so the humans managed to bond with them over this shared struggle. Then, around the year 1000 BC, the dwarves of the city of Vastholm in the Grimwall Mountains decided that, despite the danger, they ought to explore the mountains opposite of them in order to find new ores and materials. When they arrived there, they found something they'd have never expected. They found these barbaric humans, creatures with a very short lifespan in relation to their own, living about just as long as humans do in the real world, but with incredible willpower and dedication, which helped them to survive this long and harsh environment for so long. Due to that, the dwarves decided to help these humans. They gave them shelter, taught them about the Guardians and Aeonia, and showed them how to craft items, weapons and armor. The humans proved to be very observant and smart, carefully copying every move the dwarves made while crafting, and not long after, they were able to produce their own armors, lances and swords, the last of which would serve as their new banner. And so, the Age of the Sword had started. Soon, they climbed down the slopes of the Windwall Mountains and started challenging the dragons. And even though the giant lizards were much more powerful than the humans individually, their sheer numbers, immense willpower and cunning allowed them to overcome this obstacle. The humans slowly but surely started freeing Fiara from the dragons until they pushed them all the way back to Godeland. And the once dragon-populated fields now became filled with numerous villages and cities. It was at this point that the biggest human cities on Fiara, such as Greyfield, Seven Keeps and of course Angbrand, came to be. Since their lifespan was so short, the human race spread quickly across Fiara to make up for it, and they soon became its rulers, so to say, and with them came massive cities, trade, money, but also war. They were very attracted to the secrets of magic and religion, more so than the dwarves and elves, which can also be contributed to their short lifespan. They tried using the time they had on EO to discover its secrets and find a purpose in it. Then, in the year 940 before the Convocation, the humans founded their first great empire called the Hibernian Empire, with God Emperor Clarus the Blessed as its first ruler. They established Angbrand as their capital, which would from then on be known as the City of Kings. The empire became massive, reaching all across Fiara from Northander to the elven lands of Finnonmere, even across the sea to Xu. The Hibernians also explored other continents such as Urgath, Godeland and Innerland, but never established any permanent settlements on them, likely due to very hostile environments there. During the War of the Six Races, which had started in the year 750 BC, the humans allied themselves with the dwarves and elves against the dark races coming from Xu. However, the war took its toll on the Hibernian Empire. Due to an inability to sustain itself during such times, the empire fell apart in the year 730 BC and became three separate smaller kingdoms, the Kingdom of Northander, Highmark and Imperia. Northander's capital remained the City of Kings, Angbrand, until after the Mage Wars, at which point it stopped being a kingdom and its territory was separated among the royal houses of Northander, Wulfgar, Halit, Utran, Leonida and Iskander. All of them still exist today, with the exception of Iskander, which had been snuffed out. The new capital of the Highmark became the City of Seven Keeps. The humans there were quick to form an alliance with the Morhir elves of Dunmora and the dwarves of the Middle Mountains. It still remains a kingdom with King Ulf as its current ruler. Imperia is the smallest of the three and the only one outside of Fiara. They don't control much of the land on Xu, however the capital city, also called Imperia, now under the rule of Empress Alia Arias, was always a prosperous city, being dubbed the Golden City by many travelers. Since they do live on a different continent, their culture also somewhat differs from the other two, choosing to not so much worship the Guardians for example, but instead their emperor and money or gold. And that's the general state the human race is in today. There are some details that I didn't include here, but rest assured that all will be talked about in due time. Once again, if you enjoyed the content, let me know by liking, sharing and subscribing. And if you'd like to discuss today's topic, feel free to do so in the comments or on the official SpellForce Discord, the link to which will be in the description below. But that would be everything for now. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope to see you in the next video.